We'll start in 30 seconds.
Okay, consent to be in live stream. Okay.
Okay. I want to welcome everybody. We do have quorum to the Kawartha Lakes Off-Road Vehicle Use of City Roads Task Force agenda. I want to start off with welcoming our two newest members and ask you to just kind of give us, oh, hold on. So I've called the meeting to order. Can I have a motion to adopt the agenda? Okay, I'm hold on. I got to get my pictures going here because I can't see everybody. There we go. Okay, can I have a motion moved by Tracy Richardson, seconded by Don? All those in favor of adopting the agenda? And that motion is carried. And do we have any disclosures of pecuniary interest? Okay, hearing none. You all know what to do if that does happen. If something pops up, it's pecuniary interest, you just let me know and we'll deal with it. Okay, adoption of the minutes from the May 20th, 2021 meeting. Can I have a mover? Okay, I got Carolyn and Kathleen. All those in favor? And that motion is carried. Okay, well, before we get going, I'd like to welcome our two new members, and maybe we'll get each of them to give us a little bit of a background and why they volunteered to be here, and welcome them at the same time. So, Peter, do you want to go first?
Sure, I'll go ahead. My name is Peter Nomienko. I just moved to Lindsay at the end of May. We live on Dobson Street, not too far from Locke, and this is one of the areas where the ATVs will be crossing. I've seen a few. I don't have any objection to it. And
okay.
It's not the ATVs is the problem, but sometimes it's the riders are the problem. Anyway, I was a policeman for 33 years. That's in Durham Regional Police. I worked in various branches, from traffic to motorcycle gangs to criminal investigations. When I retired, I got onto a company that worked in the motorcycle industry. And part of my jobs was to do the demonstration rides on motorcycles. I did ATV and side-by-side demo tours in various provinces across Canada. So I do have a lot of experience in it. And that's about it. I'm going to sort of take a back seat until I can get a feel and a sense of where this committee is going and what their ultimate goals are.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Thank you, John, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Certainly. My name is John Carr. I've been a resident of the Lindsay area for over 50 years. Been involved as a health and safety auditor and health and safety consultant for a number of years. I currently work for the Workplace Safety and Insurance Board as a health and safety consultant. So I don't deal with the claims side of WSIB, which is the majority of what WSIB does. I work on the other side. We do have a mandate to make Ontario a safer place. So I've been working on that for 10 or 12 years. My interest in being involved in the committee, I like being involved in the community. I've been the past president of the rugby club. I was the vice president of the Historical Society. Back in the day when we were trying to find a new landfill site for Victoria County at the time, I was the chair of the Public Advisory Committee for that project as well. I'm involved in the Kawartha Male Chorus. If you ever had a chance to come out and see us sing, I'm involved in that. Also involved in that Living Christmas Tree project that takes place at St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church. So involved a lot in the community. I am not an ATVer, but I have extensive ATV experience solely from a work purposes. When I used to farm, I probably have driven more kilometers on an ATV than most people have, just purely on a daily basis using them for work purposes. Never ridden an ATV for pleasure purposes, but certainly lots of riding experience. So hoping to bring my experience as a health and safety person, and I'm hopefully a level-headed person to this committee. Just interested in being involved.
Thank you, John. Okay, I'll just do quickly around the table. I'll introduce myself. My name is Pat Dunn. I'm a retired police officer. I've sat on council for the last 11 years. By the time my term's up, I'll have 12 years on city council, 2 years prior to that on town council. I don't describe myself as an ATVer, although I do own an ATV. I've never been on a trail on an ATV. My experience is going from the farm back to the hunt camp, and then depending how far I have to go to get to my watch, I sometimes use an ATV for that purpose. So that's my background, and I'll run the table because I got everybody's face in front of me. Carolyn, do you want to give us some background?
I am Carolyn Richards. I am president of Kawartha ATV Association. I have been for approximately 10 years now. I've been involved for almost 15 years with the organization. I've also been involved with the Ministry of Transportation and Ministry of Health on legislative changes for off-road vehicles over the last 10 years. And I am a career insurance professional in the community as well.
Okay, thank you. Tracy?
Thank you. And I'm Councillor Tracy Richardson. I represent Ward 8, which is the southern part of City of Kawartha Lakes, and the east of Emily, which goes all the way up to Ennismore. And I don't own an ATV, nor does anybody in my family, but I certainly recognize the use in my ward, and looking for, some reasonable solutions to help manage this growth, because it's happening around us.
Thank you. Kathleen?
There you go. Hi, I'm Kathleen Seymour Fagan, Ward 2 councillor. I have probably the most trails in my area. I go from Bob Cajun up through Burnt River and into Kinmount. So I've been on an ATV once in my life on a trail and got to see our beautiful area through trails. I'm not an ATV enthusiast, despite what people seem to think. But I think it's a great opportunity for our area to have some economic impact for the businesses in the area. As I know, and I've worked closely with our tourism department over the years, and I see the amount of ATVs going along 36 every single day. So that's my background. I also own a business in Bob Cajun, and yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Don? Don? You want to just give us a quick overview?
He's on mute.
You're on mute, Don. All right, well, we'll go to Steve.
How's that, gang? Got you now? Sorry about that. Yeah, Don Mitchell. I'm retired fire chief, was in the fire service for 43 years. Come out of an area where there was a tremendous amount of ATVing, and got on the committee just because I thought I could help out and give my thoughts on it.
Thank you. Steve?
My name's Steve Lane.
We lost you, Steve.
My name is Steve Lane. I was the founding president of Kawartha ATV. I come from Bob Cajun, and I went to high school in Fenland. I live currently in Lindsay. I have a background as health and safety also. I've a certified health and safety rep. I was involved in the district at Scouts Canada, in the region as well as in the district, as president and district commissioner. Been involved in the tourism business in Bob Cajun. My parents, growing up, had a hotel motel in Bob Cajun, so I know Bob Cajun very extensively, and I know Lindsay fairly well. I was also involved originally in the opening of roads up through north of County Road 8, so I do have a vast experience in ATVing. Currently, I'm a trainer for Cassie, trainer for ATVs for youth and adults also, I guess, but mostly for youth learning to ride safely ATVs. We put numerous courses on during the year. I'm totally in a volunteer capacity right now with the Kawartha ATV as a Cassie trainer as well as trail patrol.
Okay, thank you. And Jason.
Sorry about that. I was a little late showing up here. I had some computer issues. I couldn't get it to log on. So three computers later, I'm here. My name's Jason. I'm a police officer currently here in the city of Kawartha Lakes. I have approximately 20 years or so background in policing, specializing in traffic and collision reconstruction and drug recognition. And I recently started ATVing up here and just figured I could maybe share some of my knowledge and background with the committee to try and make this a better and safer sport up here.
Thank you. Okay, and we also have 3 staff members, John and Peter. I'll give them to get them just to say hi to us. Ashley.
Yes, hi there. My name is Ashley Locke. I am a communications officer with the City of Kawartha Lakes for 3.5 years now. I am on this task force to not only help facilitate the communications, but to also help leverage any of the messaging that you'd like to get out to the public, as well as running the public engagement, such as the Jump In website, the online surveys, and assisting with council wherever I can help provide clarity.
Thank you. Brianne.
Hi there, I'm Brianne. I'm the administrative assistant on the task force, and I'm an administrative assistant in the Public Works Department. And I help organize, schedule the meetings and field questions and comments from the public.
And last but not least, Jen.
Hi there, I'm Jen Johnson. I'm the manager of Parks, Recreation and Culture, and I'm just kind of a part-timer on this committee as just to give some input as how it relates to trails within the Kawartha Lakes.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to start off with, we had a survey that was focused on Lindsay. And Ashley, if you want to run us through that, that would be wonderful.
Not a problem. So we launched a public survey regarding the ATV route in Lindsay, just asking residents, those from Lindsay and those from around the area, if they were in favor or not of the proposed route. So the survey was open for about 1.5 months, and we had a fantastic uptake on that. I believe we just had over 1,600 responses, which is probably the biggest engagement we've had when it comes to public surveys online. And it's a really, really great turnout, as I mentioned, but now we are here to discuss what the next steps are, as it was just brought to the committee of the whole meeting that happened last week and was brought back to the task force, I believe, after more than 50% were not in favor of the proposed route.
Okay, and any questions? Carolyn?
So when we combine the results of this survey with the one that was done back in the spring, because this survey on the Jump In page said that was council's request for additional feedback, not replacing the previous survey. The previous survey had over 2,000 respondents, and I believe about 70 or 75% were in favor. So what's the numbers when we combine the two the results, basically? Because we should be combining the two from what I understand, correct?
That's an excellent question. I will leave that to the task force, but I can get those numbers for you. So if you guys want to continue your discussion, I can work on that right now.
Perfect. Thank you, Ashley.
Okay, thanks, Ashley.
Anybody else? Okay. Last Tuesday, Public Works presented a report. I don't know if I circulated. Yes, well, it's circulated now. Thank you. Basically, the recommendations coming out of the report is to seek an alternate route using bridges and so on, and not go forward with the route that was suggested by the task force. That will go to the council meeting next Tuesday, for further discussion. I don't know, does anybody have any questions what the process is about how we got to where we are? Okay, so one of the questions I will bring up at the council meeting is we've been down this road before, and I'll be looking for some sort of budget commitment from council. Because best we can figure out, and we forwarded a copy of the report from 2009. And by the time the route is built, I think we're looking at the better part of, back in 2009, we're looking at the better part of $5 million. So to actually make that a realistic suggestion, I think council's also got to deal with the cost, and I'll be bringing that up tomorrow at a budget meeting, and I'll bring it up again on Tuesday. Do we have any further? Yes, Tracy.
Has it been confirmed? Are they going to bring us back some new costing based on the proposal?
I don't know what they're going to do.
Okay.
As I said, the figures we got from the director. And I think actually they flowed through the director of engineering, was pretty close to the $5 million mark in 2009 figures. So it's something that council is going to have to discuss one way or the other. They're going to have to talk about the $5 million or where the money's coming from. Go ahead, Steve.
Thank you, Pat. I was involved in the original bridge research being done back in about 2008, 2007. I had a committee formed through the club, as well as with the snowmobile club, Kawartha Lake Snowmobile Club, and a few other individuals. Our price was around $500,000 to build it. I understand inflation and all that, but there is two reports from city reports back in that time, and it was like, I believe, $1.2 and $2.2 million to build this bridge, but they had all the bells and whistles on it. It was a park setting with park benches and lighting and things like this. We were looking at a recreational bridge. We were trying to get across the Trent Severn. There is restrictions. I think it's 28 feet for the height. We had a guy that was working for the Trent Waterway on the committee. He was also connected with the Kawartha Lake Snowmobile Club working. So we were looking at all those specs, but there is two reports there, and they were not $5 million at that time. So I think we should be pulling those two reports. And I believe maybe somebody from the Parks and Rec maybe could pull them out, or maybe Brianna from the archives.
Yeah, thank you. So what I was looking at was the one that was circulated by engineering, and it goes beyond just the bridge. There are culverts that are going to have to be put in. There's going to be roads that have to be put in. It's not just strictly as simple as building a bridge. There's other infrastructure that has to go in. I don't know, Jenna, are you in a position to comment, or just want to let it go until we hear back from council?
Certainly, I can give some brief information, but I would suggest anything, from more information could likely come after you get direction from council. But I do have the GD Jewel engineering report in front of me. And the cost estimate at that time was 3.327 million. That didn't include any of the land acquisition that would be required for where this bridge is being proposed. So that's there's some additional costs associated there. But yeah, those were 2009 construction cost estimates. And I do have the report here, if that's something that you would like to share with the group. Councillor Dunn, just let me know and I can provide it.
Yeah, and I don't think we need to do it today. Council still has to make a decision as to where they're going. Right now, the task force recommendations are the ones that are currently in front of council, due to be discussed next Tuesday. And I don't want to jump the gun. It was more a case of I want to inform the task force what we're talking about. Anybody else? Okay, so if I can have a couple of motions just for the paperwork part, that the verbal update on the Public Works report and the review of the survey results be received, so that we can actually get them in the books. Moved by Don, seconded by Kathleen. All those in favor? Thank you. That motion's carried. All right. So we've got a series of meetings coming up. I don't have Bob Cajun on the agenda today, because I think Bob Cajun is a day all by itself, or a meeting all by itself, and we'll schedule it as such, so that we can actually have and then not be bothered with other distractions, and actually deal with Bob Cajun. So I created some proposed routes. Now, that's me, but I've done that strictly to have something to talk about when we come to the meeting. So I am looking for input from the task force as to why we should, why we shouldn't, or why we should do it differently. This is a result of my own personal research, and I'm not an ATVer, so but I did start it out just for that purpose. Okay, so if everybody's fine, we'll move on to the Pontypool area, and I'll open it up for discussion. Tracy?
I think I'll start this, hence it's on my area. One of my biggest, not concerns, but one of my motivators is I feel that, you know, as we move forward, we should look at, you know, one of our mottos being is we're trying to connect communities to the Victoria Rail Trail. So when it comes to suggesting certain roads in certain communities, right now, you know, we're dealing with some illegal use. We're dealing with some trespassing on, you know, farmers' fields and in ditches and whatnot. So creating these local connections by using municipal roads is, you know, we're using an existing footprint, and there's going to be the rules that have to be followed. Now, for my area down here, we've had a illegal trail on Highway 35 that the MTO has just shut down this spring. Never was a legal trail, but they've actually put out signage now. So this has created an influx of riders down this area looking for ways to connect to trails. So obviously with the ones we have listed right now, one of my thoughts are connecting Pontypool to the Victoria Rail Trail, because there's a huge gap there, because the Victoria Rail Trail stops in Bethany, but you have a huge amount of riders down here. So I'm looking at what you've suggested, and I believe, you know, we might have to get some stats from maybe the OPP when we consider Porter Road. I like the Porter Road because it's a wide road. It's got good infrastructure, telecom as well. And then, you know, you cross over Highway 7A, you carry on to Porter all the way up to Lifford, and that connects you right to the Victoria Rail Trail. So that's a way without creating as much residential impact, because it's a lot of farmers' fields through that whole location as well. I'm not sure if any of the riders on the board here have, you know, thought about looking at that as an option, or are aware of what kind of routes riders are taking down here right now.
Steve?
Yeah, Tracy, I don't know. Originally, we had opened it up that we were going to open up all rural roads. We've had probably 14 or 15 years experience on roads in the city with no instances at all for concern. I don't understand why we're varying from that direction as far as rural roads. I totally agree. We need to open up the communities to the trail system, and that's the purpose of it. But to open up rural roads, I think there's some issues in Lindsay and Bob Cajun. We need to deal with them individually, but I think we should be taking it to council for opening up all rural roads.
Okay, Carolyn?
I think that because this is a trial project, I think that it is actually in everybody's best interest to choose routes at this time, specific routes. And so I did take, after getting the agenda, I took some time actually yesterday and drove down in the Pontypool area because I've never been terribly familiar with the area. So I ran Telecom Road. I drove on Telecom Road and Porter Road and right to Lifford and up to the rail trail, because I know where the rail trail connects on each of the roads, Fleet Road and all that. And actually I found Porter Road is exceptionally wide and makes it much more safe for multi-use vehicles, whether it's cars, trucks, or off-road vehicles. So I think Porter Road, to be honest with you, isn't it a really excellent option. And Telecom Road, to bring them from Pontypool, that gets them out of the village of Pontypool. They're not driving around in the village. It gets them onto the road, a main route, and then up right to the rail trail. So I think that even where they're crossing 7A, just west of Bethany, it is a very open, flat area. So there's not a lot of concern there. And legally, they can cross Highway 7A on a 90-degree angle. So, and we already do that in Bethany to cross over the trail. So I think that this is a very viable option, to be honest with you, to start with this trial period, is this one route.
Thank you. Steve?
I understand getting routes. My concern is that we're going to be taking this back to council, and it's a trial period. Originally, we started with that we would open rural routes open and then review it in 1 year and then review it in 2 years and just see where the dust settles on this for expedience purposes, rather than going back to council and going through this whole process over again to open up more rural roads. I'd be more in favor of opening them all up and then review it in the 1 year, and that's address the issues at hand in individual areas versus going back in the next 10 years to council back and forth to open up more roads. That's why the rural route seems more simple, just to open it up on the trial basis and review in the 1 year and 2 years.
Okay, thank you. Tracy.
Well, I'm hearing what Steve's saying, but do you think that's something, I mean, you know, we're going to be leaning on Kawartha ATV Association and, you know, other associations looking for that stewardship because that's one of the things that we have been lacking. And I'm wondering if we go all in, isn't that going to be putting more pressure on these agencies that are, you know, trying to help us with the communications and education as we move forward? You know, I mean, I'm seeing other municipalities around us that are opening up. And, you know, I'm almost wondering if we should even reach out to the OPP just to ask our local OPP just to see if, you know, what they're seeing and what they're hearing out there. Because, I mean, the last month, I don't know. Now, Matt, let's see, talk about the summer. So I have a question. So, Carolyn, have you heard throughout the summer, has there been issues or how's this whole season gone?
As far as incidents on trails, we, at the very beginning of the season in the spring, there was, in 1 week, there was 2 accidents on the rail trail, and I haven't heard of any since. And we have, right now, we have about, on an average day, trail patrol up in the north, up in Kathleen's ward, they're stopping anywhere from 80 to 120 ATVs up in the north ward, north end of the ward. So that's, now we don't see that volume of traffic down in the Bethany area or anything like that, or close to Lindsay. This is where the main trails are up there. But considering the numbers that we're stopping on the trail, so the traffic we're seeing, And we have not, that I'm aware of, had any other incidents since, I believe it was early May that there was 2 incidents, and they were both minor accidents on the rail trail, single vehicle accidents on the rail trail. I have not heard of any accidents on roads whatsoever this season at all in our municipality. So we've had considering how busy it's been, we have had a really good season as far as safety goes, and Trail Patrol has been out there regularly checking riders, and it's gone very well from what I understand. I have not had any complaints from the OPP either. So
okay, so I'm going to go from first Steve and then back to Tracy, and Jen's picture just came on, so I don't know whether she wants to jump in too.
Okay.
So yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Okay, thanks, Pat. If we didn't have 15 or 14 years experience on roads, I wouldn't be even thinking of just going in the trial period without doing routes first. But we have had experience of 14 or 15 years, and the reports have come back from the police and the fire departments, and have had very good support from them and very good reviews. There's been none. So with that being said, we should be looking at the rural routes and not be looking at opening them all up. And that's why I'm going that way. I believe in safety, and I believe if we didn't have that 14 years experience, then I would not even be addressing it at this time. But I know from experience in the past that we're going to be having this onward, upward fight to open up more roads. But this is a trial basis, don't forget. So it's going to be reviewed in a year. And if there is a problem in Bethany or a problem in anywhere on the rural routes, then we'll address them. But you're going to let the police look after it. If you open up a route, if there's a problem with enforcement, because somebody will say, well, I knew we were allowed to be on Porter Road, but I didn't know that we weren't allowed to be on another road or another road, and they're being stopped. Now, the likelihood, will they be charged? No, by police. They'll be warned to stay on the routes. But for enforcement purposes, and we have some police officers with experience on the committee, and it's up to the committee what we decide to take to council, but I would totally recommend it as going forward with all rural roads open.
Okay, I'm going to go to Jen first, Tracy, if you don't mind, and then we'll come back to you, and then Carolyn, and then I'm going to ask for somebody to make a motion. Go ahead, Jen.
Thanks, Councillor Dunn. I just wanted to just give a bit of clarification or an update maybe to Carolyn's numbers there, and you know, certainly you may not be aware of them, Carolyn, but I do know our office certainly has received some information and some correspondence from particularly those folks along the East Cameron Lake section, so like just north of Fenland Falls, where there have been certainly, we are hearing more incidents that are happening along that area. So I just wanted to clarify, or not necessarily clarify, but just give an update on some information that we're receiving. And those incidents may not actually, it may not be an accident actually with an ORV, but certainly we are hearing more reports, and those are actually being reported to the police as well. So I'm sure that their numbers will be increasing, particularly for that area.
Yeah, I was only speaking to accidents, Jen. I don't know about other complaints or anything like that.
Fair enough. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I provided some information that our office is receiving as well.
Thank you. Okay, Tracy, and then I'm going to ask for someone to make a motion.
Absolutely. So one of my questions would be, Carolyn, has the membership gone up again in 2021? I know you had a huge surge in 2020 when the pandemic hit. Are you still trending? Membership still trending on an increased basis?
Yeah, it has evened out a little bit, but what we are seeing is more people new to the area and new to the sport. So while we see some people have retired from the sport, the new people, the new memberships that are going out there are people that are new to the area, new to ATVing. That's the trend we're seeing now, is completely new to the sport. So we are seeing some growth, but even if there's a 10% growth, I would say 30% of the new members this year actually are new to the area and new to ATVing completely. So they've bought up here or bought a cottage up here or something like that. And I just want to put some other information into context too, that Jen sort of reminded me, was the health unit information that we've been working with, and we have reviewed it in our meetings and stuff. Something unique to our health unit that it has not been put out there, and I just want to put the stats into context here. We are very unique because we have within our health unit, which is Halliburton, Kawartha, Pine Ridge Health Unit, we have everything from the Northumberland Forest, which is full of ATVs and dirt bikes. And until 2020 was not heavily monitored, there was no patrols or anything like that in it. We have the Ganaraska Forest in our municipality. Again, probably the most heavily used forest for off-road vehicles in Ontario, and all coming from the GTA. Then we've got the Victoria Rail Trail. Then we've got Somerville Forest. But then add to that, in Halliburton County, there's 1,700 kilometers of trails up there. So while the health unit report came back saying that we are high as far as accident statistics, it has to be put into the data that we are also the largest trail system or the largest volume of trails in Ontario in one health unit. So it has to be done relatively here. You can't compare our health unit to, say, Durham or something like that, because you have to look at the number of people out there on off-road vehicles in our health unit on a daily basis. And that has to be put into context and perspective for sure. And then the other piece is we have probably the second largest off-road racetrack in Ontario, right here in Burnt River. Incredibly successful business, wonderfully run business, but it is a racetrack. So these statistics that are being used in these reports for us include dirt bikes. And when you get to a racetrack full of dirt bikes, there's accidents. And I have had conversation with the emergency services up there, and they are at that racetrack on a regular basis, dealing with sometimes just minor injuries because they're called out automatically. But those numbers are put into our statistics. So again, it has to be put into context when you have such a large, busy racetrack within the municipality. And injury is the nature of, it's a part of racing. We all know that. And then finally, add to the fact that like City Kawartha Lake stats are higher within our health unit. We have not only the racetrack, we have the Ganaraska Forest, but we also have this huge farming community. And farmers use off-road vehicles, and accidents happen on farms, and accidents happen on roads with farm vehicles. And so again, I just want to make sure that the health unit information, I'm not disputing the numbers, I'm just saying it has to be put into context when we're looking at that information. We are not a dangerous municipality when it comes to off-road vehicles. We have some of the best statistics if you actually look at the recreational side of off-road vehicles in City of Kawartha Lakes. That's
okay,
it.
thank you very much. And just to add to that, the health unit doesn't differentiate between ATVs and dirt bikes. When they report that number, it is a combination of both numbers combined. And I confirmed that when the health unit was presenting their report to council. For them, a dirt bike and an ATV are exactly the same thing, and they're not separated. Okay, so I think we've had a wholesome discussion. Does somebody want to make a motion one way or the other? And we'll see where we go. Tracy?
I think at this time, because it is a trial basis, and I believe that we need to take that slow and steady approach, that I would endorse looking at connecting the Pontypool community to the Victoria Rail Trail with the roads that I proposed.
Okay. Do I have a seconder? Seconded by Jason. Okay. So Brianne, just as far as the structure of the motion goes, this would be a recommendation from the task force to the next public meeting, which I'm anticipating having at the same time as and we'll have to pick a date. I'm anticipating having at the same time as as we do our Bob Cajun review. And then depending on the results of the public meeting or after the public meeting, at that point, we can make that recommendation, forward that recommendation to council. So that's just on the structure of the meeting. Do you have any other questions, Brianna?
Nope, that's clear. Thank you.
Okay. Do we have any? Okay, so on the motion, Don, go ahead.
I just wondered, Pat, was this just discussing the route in Pontypool, or are we discussing all the ones that you put forward there?
Just the route in Pontypool. We're going to do them as three separate entities.
Thank you.
Okay. Do I have any further questions or discussion on the route in the Pontypool area?
I got another question, Pat.
Yeah, go ahead.
So down here, it's unique. I do have some, like I do also have Janetville, and Janetville residents do reach out and have discussion with me looking for that connection too. Are we going to maybe, at another time later, like another meeting, maybe propose additional routes for communities connecting to the Victoria Rail Trail other than what we're stating today?
That would certainly be my my preference.
Okay.
I would. When I've had discussions with members of council and members of staff, they would prefer my original ingoing position was just open up all the roads in the rural areas. So Steve and I were right on the same page back in those days. The feedback I've got through council and through some staff members is they would rather identify the routes. So as we move forward, I would certainly, I'd have to take a drive around Janetville because once again, I don't know the roads there. So I would anticipate doing Janetville. I would anticipate doing things like Dunsford and so on and so forth. But I think we have to do it one bite at a time. Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
I'm in Janetville on a daily basis, Tracy. There's at least a half a dozen to a dozen ATVs running the roads on a daily basis in through there. We need to get some controls down in there. I would like to see it included.
Okay, well, so yeah. Somebody give it, as I said, those names that I put on the agenda are just names. If somebody wants to name a road, I'm more than happy to have it enter into the discussion. Go ahead.
And I'm agreeing with you too, Steve. I was there yesterday in View Lake and in Janetville, and I did see the presence.
So do we want to deal with that now, or do we want to?
No, I think, like you said, we can schedule it for another meeting. It's a pretty full agenda right now. So we'll go through it, tick through the boxes. Works for me.
Anybody else have any comments on the motion? No, we're good. All those in favor?
I'm in favor.
Well, thank you, Peter. I declare that motion carried, and we'll keep on the discussion as we move along. Okay, so the second item I placed on the agenda for today is for the Omemee area. Do we have any discussion on the Omemee area? Don, go ahead.
Yeah, after looking at it, Pat, and I have been talking with Councillor Ashmore, who, me personally being on the committee, I haven't had anybody come forward to me whatsoever about the routes or anything. Lots of comments on where is it going, but I know that Councillor Ashmore was flooded with people calling him about getting Omemee opened up and access to the trails. Your route that you had put in there, I'm in agreement with it. You could add Crosswind Road, which when I'll just say Greendale Farm Equipment, which everybody's probably familiar with, rated that business, you can go west on Crosswind, and in 2 concessions, you're on the rail trail, the Victoria Rail Trail. So it would just give 2 accesses to the rail trail. You could go down on up onto the county road, Mount Horeb Road, which would access you that route and down through the Hogs Back if wanted to get on the rail trail, or you could go across Crosswind and you'd access the rail trail there pretty quickly too.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, I've got to write down the name, and then I'm going to have to go on my agenda and go into a map on my phone maybe so that I can see what we're talking about. What was the name of that road again, please, Don?
Crosswind.
Crosswind?
It runs west of Greendale Farm Equipment, right at their business. The road runs west.
Okay. All right. Carolyn, if you want to go ahead, I'm just going to take a peek at this on the map.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that we would also have to look at the Hogs Back Road. It is, I believe, an unmaintained road allowance, possibly. I know it's not a regular road, so we would have to, if we're looking at Hogs Back, it technically is a road, so we would have to talk to Public Works about access for it, only because I'm not sure what type of road it is. So go ahead, Tracy.
It's unassumed.
So I believe is there not a different way of approaching unassumed roads with Public Works?
I believe it's with the property portion of the city of Kawartha Lakes that we have to apply to it.
Okay.
Okay, now I've got Crosswind Road, and I'll get the Hogs Back Road in a second. I've got Crosswind Road coming off of Post.
Yes, that's correct. It runs from Post over to Heights Road, Pat. Right at the.
Oh yeah, okay, I'm with you now.
Yeah, it's 3 concessions across there.
Yep, no, I got it now. Okay, I'm good. Yeah, Hogs Back Road, we're going to structure the same type of motion when a motion finally comes forward. We're going to structure the same type of motion where it's going to come back at a public meeting, and it'll give staff and everybody else an opportunity to comment on it. Okay, so let's deal with the Hogs Back Road. So you're going to go the Hogs Back Road from Mount Orb to the road that goes north and south from Omemee to Bethany. What's the name of that road? Ski Hill Road?
Ski Hill Road, yeah.
Oh. Okay, all right. Does somebody want to try and prepare a motion, or do you want me to do one on the fly? Okay, so you got your pencil sharp, Brianne?
Yes, I'm good to go.
Okay, open up Crosswind Road from Heights Road to Post Road. Post Road from Highway 7 to Mount Orb Road. Is that what we're saying, Don?
Well, you had Heights Road to the Mount Horeb Road.
Yep.
And all I was suggesting is to put Crosswind in there, which is another access that's only a concession apart, more or less, to get
so
there.
Where are we going to on Crosswind?
You go right to the rail trail.
Oh, okay, all right. So it's Crosswind from Heights to what we're saying. cross to that, okay.
Yeah.
And then the Mount Orb Road, sorry, I'll do it again. The Hogsback from Mount Orb Road to Ski Hill Road. So my only question is once I get to Ski Hill Road, where am I going? Or is that the trip in itself, just going up the Mount Orb Road?
Actually, the Hogsback itself is actually treated as a trail almost right now by Jeeps and off-road vehicles. So yeah, it sort of is the trip itself.
Okay. I'm good with that. Does anybody else, just a little bit of history, back in '68 when I joined the OPP, we used to drive that road in cruisers.
The Hogsback?
Yeah.
Wow.
You're brave.
We were young and adventurous.
Yeah, you are brave. I was just down there with my truck a couple of weeks ago.
All right, okay. So do we have any other comments on those roads? All right.
So we're still in the motion, we're still leaving in the Sturgeon Road from Highway 7, everything else that you had in the agenda, like Heights Roads, Beaver Road to Mount Horeb, that's all still in this motion?
Yes, okay, so that part, and then second bullet would be Crosswind Road from Heights Road to the rail trail.
Yep.
And the Hogsback Road from Mount Orb Road to Ski Hill Road would be the third bullet.
Okay.
I need a motion. Moved by Carolyn, seconded by Steve. Any further comments? And the structure of this motion will be the same thing. It'll be opened up for public discussion at the next meeting. I believe we need motions in front of people in order for people to have a discussion about it. If we don't, so if we say this is what we're recommending. So, all right. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor?
In favor?
And that motion's carried. All right. The Lindsay area. Recommendations that I'm suggesting are open up Thunderbridge Road right across so that people that are living on Thunderbridge Road, coming off Monarch Road, coming off of the Otmar Road, if they want to be able to access the trail, it just gives them permission to go right down the Thunderbridge Road to the trail. Any other suggestions?
I think that we should revisit the Lindsay, I guess, after the council meeting. Is that?
Yeah, yes, we can't do Lindsay itself until after the council meeting because that motion is currently in front of council.
Okay.
So this is just an outlying area. I got talking to a fellow actually at the corner of Monarch and Thunderbridge Road, and it was kind of like, hey, what about me conversation. I said, yeah, that certainly works for me. Thunderbridge Road ends at the Otmar Road. That's where it's finished. But I think it's, once again, I have like no issues. They're good roads, they're wide roads. Crossing 35, you're protected by a traffic light. Yes, go ahead, Peter.
No, it wasn't me. I was waving at my wife for something here.
Oh. All right. Steve, go ahead. Yeah, Steve, go ahead.
Just for clarification, Pat, the motion before council is to eliminate road access and just go with a bridge. Is that what I'm gathering?
the motion that's going to be coming forward from the committee of the whole meeting for discussion at council will be the bridge and eliminating the current route through Lindsay. That route through Lindsay ends at the Thunder Bridge Road. So I think it's reasonable and proper for the council to say opening up Thunder Bridge Road would be, I think that's a motion we can make. We can't change what's in Lindsay because it's before council, but I think we can change because the routes that we're talking about aren't affected by bringing Thunder Bridge Road right across. Okay, yes, okay, Carolyn and then Steve.
What about Kenry Road? That would connect everybody coming out of Alpine RV Resort, and they do have transient camping there and ATVs there, and basically everybody in that sort of area of Butternut Drive and all that down by the lake, because the rail trail crosses over right at Ken Reed Conservation Area. So if we open and Ken Reed dead ends at 35, so it's not going anywhere. So we're not opening up some huge road. It's really just to connect that small community down by the lake, just past Ken Reed Conservation Area.
Okay. Anything else? And now, so when you're talking about that, are you talking about opening up Angeline Street North between Thunder Bridge Road and Ken Reed Park Road? Or no? Okay, so you're just talking about opening up Ken Reed Park Road from Highway 35 to the end.
Yeah, because basically anybody coming from, there's not a lot of homes along Angeline between Thunder Bridge and Ken Reed. So that's really not much of an issue. It's more, there's a larger volume of homes and cottages down by the conservation area, down past the conservation area.
Okay. Steve, I saw your hand up. Yep.
Yeah, and that's including Butternut. Is that correct, Carol?
Well, yeah, I'm saying open up Ken Reed so that those residents there can connect with, it's really probably only 100-foot stretch of road that is going to be used, but just for the sake of being legal, then allowing that.
Okay, go ahead, Steve.
Back to the discussion going before council. I don't support eliminating a route through Lindsay in lieu of putting a bridge across, because I can see that bridge going to take 10 or 20 years before we ever see that come to tuition. We definitely need to be looking at a route with that bridge in mind.
Yes. But what I'm saying is we can't make suggestions on a route through Lindsay until such time as the motion in front of council is approved or eliminated. You know, like that's where the issue lies, Steve, is right now we're seized on what we have in front of council right now. Council can do whatever they want. Council can adjust the route if they choose to adjust the route. The thing is, we can't adjust it, but it's up to council.
They can amend it then at that time when it comes before council for the motion. Is that what you're?
Oh, sure, they can, and they can do a totally different recommendation. All we're doing is providing recommendations and advice. Okay. Okay. Any other comments? So, so the recommendation is Thunder Bridge Road, Ken Reed Park Road, and that's it. Do I have a mover? Moved by Steve, seconded by Carolyn. And of course, Brianne, when you're actually writing up the motion, it'll have the same restrictions as in coming forward to the next public meeting and so on and so forth. Okay, now do we have any further discussions on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor?
I'm in favor.
And that motion's carried. Okay. Last but not least is the Cameron area. What I was recommending, and I guess it comes down to me, is Poles Road from Cameron Road to Ranchers Road. And I don't know if you're familiar with the area. Cameron Road is the road that goes straight north from Cameron to County Road 8. Ranchers Road is the road that runs parallel to Highway 35. Okay, so I'm recommending that Poles Road, which would be bring the cross section across to Ranchers Road. What they're doing right now, just so everyone knows, is they've realigned the road they've realigned 121 probably every 10 years since I came here. They've realigned the road. The road 121 now is north of Poles Corners. If you go there, you'll see people are coming on Poles Corners and they're crossing 35, cresting the hill there and going on to Ranchers Road. So for me, it would just open up that, make it legal, and maybe focus them crossing there, because they're doing it right now. That seems to be one of their favorite routes. Ranchers Road from 121 to Long Beach Road. It diverts the traffic off of 121 to Ranchers Road, where they can pick up the trail. Long Beach Road from Highway 35 to Ranchers Road. And actually, that's not my intention. So we need to have some discussion there, because the community at Long Beach, that when I wrote that up, covers off Southview Estates. It doesn't cover off Long Beach. And I think we need to have some discussion there. Long Beach, and maybe that's why I wrote it up that way. Long Beach is a fairly heavily populated area with lots and lots of cottages on it. Most of the cottages are close to the road. They have their docks, or their the ones that are fortunate enough to have docks are on one side of the road with the cottage on the other side of the road. The cottages tend to be fairly close to the road, and that's probably why when I was making this up, I eliminated that. So let's have some discussion, please. Go ahead, Steve. And I'll get you next, Peter.
Long Beach has been used for many years as a road for getting connected to the trail. Again, we've had 14 years of no problems whatsoever on roads. I don't see Long Beach being an issue as far as being close to cottage or things like this. They're using it now anyways.
So would you recommend Long Beach from Highway 35 to City Road 21?
I'd have to look at that.
Okay, go ahead, Carolyn.
Actually, I would agree with opening all of Long Beach Road. The reason being, we're not going to see ORVs coming off of the trail to just run up Long Beach Road. So it's not going to increase traffic on Long Beach Road. What it's going to do is pull the people who have off-road vehicles down there over to the trail. And I mean, if we don't open Long Beach Road, we're cutting off an entire community.
Yeah.
Okay.
Quite frankly. So it's not going to be an increase of traffic. People riding up from Lindsay are not going to jump off the trail just to ride around on Long Beach Road. This is just to get the people down there. And I know there's been a lot of complaints and a lot of OPP calls down there for them being on the roads. Southview Estates especially. There is a lot of residents down there that have off-road vehicles. So I think all of Long Beach Road makes sense, because to try and cut it off, people aren't going to know that you have to stop here. And,
Okay.
you know, so just my thought.
All right, Peter?
She just reflected what I was going to say. I took that drive yesterday.
Okay. Steve?
Yeah, that I looked at that. I see it from Sturgeon to 35, Sturgeon Lake to 35, Long Beach. I don't see Long Beach listed in this map here that I'm looking at. Any other direction? I think it ends in Cameron, does it not? On 35?
Well, Long Beach Road goes all the way up to 121. It's a quiet country road.
Yes. Okay, I do see it now. Yeah.
Yeah, not a terribly wide road, but it's a quiet country road. And I think Carolyn's right.
Yeah.
I don't think people on the trail are going to go there, but I think people that live there may go to the trail.
Absolutely.
All right. Anybody else? Can I have a motion from somebody? Do you want me to do it? Oh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, go ahead, Carolyn.
Sorry, can I just add one thing? I think we should look at Cameron Road. Either Cameron Road or Country Lane, because both of them connect from County Road 8 to the rail trail, basically, right? They can get you to the rail trail. So I'm not familiar with Cameron Road, so I don't know the traffic level on that road, but one or the other, that brings you over to the rail trail from the other side of Highway 35. They cross on a 90-degree angle. I'm looking for roads that cross on a 90-degree angle. That way it's legal to cross 35 because you can't run up it. Okay. So both of those roads do cross at a 90-degree angle. And get you to the rail trail from the other side of Highway 35.
So would we be talking about, and I guess my preference would be Cameron Road, because it's one road farther west.
Yeah, and that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't, I'm not too familiar with those roads. I'm just looking at it from a map perspective.
Okay, so Cameron Road is a paved road. It accesses what used to be the old Fenland Township offices up at the top end. It does go right through to County Road 8. Generally speaking, with cluster, and there are clusters of farm homes there, I guess, or where a farmer has severed a couple of lots. So you have little clusters of homes every now and again as you go north on that road. It would be a busier road because it's a paved road, and the locals would use it as a different way to get from Cameron to County Road 8. So yeah, I would be comfortable with either one of them. I think that's a good, it's certainly something that's good enough to open up the conversation. And really that's all we're doing right now, is we're making recommendations to open up the conversation. So the way I've got it right now is Poles Road from Cameron Road to Ranchers Road. Ranchers Road from City Road 121 to Long Beach Road. Long Beach Road from Highway 35 to City Road 121. And Cameron Road from 35 to City Road 8.
Yep.
Does that pretty much cover?
Yep.
Any other comments?
You're making the motion, Pat. I'll second that.
I can't make a motion. I'm the chair.
I'll make that motion then, Pat. How's that?
All right, moved by Steve, seconded by Don. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
I'm in favor.
And that motion's carried. Okay, so those are the recommendations for this meeting. I have something on the agenda called general discussion. Is there anything anybody wants to talk about? Tracy?
Okay, this is just kind of by the seat of my pants here. Just listening to the update that Carolyn gave us today, you know, putting some of the specifics around and parameters about our area for under the Board of Health. I was wondering if we can maybe get some background information, maybe have requests, maybe staff even to pull up a map showing the road, like the municipalities around us that actually allow any of the roads to be opened up for off-road vehicles. So we kind of have a gauge to see what's going on in other municipalities around us as a visual.
I'm struggling with what the question was.
I'm requesting just to see if we can pull up a map and show, you know, other municipalities that are actually opened up roads for off-road vehicles around us too, like a visual.
Okay. Jen, would you have access to that type of information? And I guess I can ask Carolyn too.
Right now, I don't. I'm certain that through some research, we could likely do that, whether it's a Parks and Rec item or a Public Works. I'm sure between the two departments, we can find that information if Carolyn doesn't already have it.
Yeah, I can provide you with most of that information for maybe Public Works to put into a map format.
Okay, so we have a motion that Public Works creates a map showing open routes in surrounding communities based on information gathered by CATVA, Parks, and Public Works. Does that kind of work?
Yep.
Okay, so that's moved by Tracy, seconded by Kathleen. All those in favor? Good, motion's carried. Anything else?
You're talking about discussions here in regards to the health unit report, also furthering to Carolyn's comments. Question I have is it was a report in the last 3 to 5 years. I think that they referred to being the highest in Ontario, 5th highest. I think the physical numbers are something that we should be looked at too. And I thought it was around 12 instances that they were referring to in that being a total of 12. I just wanted to make that comment because I mean it's very few and far between when you're looking at the big picture of people on roads.
Yeah, that's a discussion probably at the council level. I struggle, like I'm an old statistician, and if you want to make it look good and your participants are small, then you talk in percentages. And if the participants are tall or large, if the number, then you talk in the numbers of participants. You always sort of present numbers in the best manner that they reflect what you're searching for as an ultimate goal. And if I sound cynical, I am. Okay, next meeting. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Carolyn.
The information from the survey results, was it Ashley? Was somebody calculating that while we were doing the meeting?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, Ashley.
Yes, hi there. I was, and I do have the numbers available. I can just pull this up really quickly for you guys. The only thing, just want to confirm you guys can see the Excel document here.
Okay, yeah.
So with the combination of them both, just around the topic of being in favor of allowing ATVs on rural roads, we are looking at a 62.3%. However, what I would like to point out is the surveys were really asking two separate circumstances. The first one was allowing the use of opening up rural roads that are deemed safe by council in order to have ATVs, whereas the second one was specifically referring to that connection route. So although the combination number is there and they both were asking about permissions for ATVs on roads, the context was a bit different. And so I just want to be careful in that consideration when looking at them joint.
Well, the survey results that I'm looking at that was presented by the city was 75, like this, just this one page on the PowerPoint says 75% agree with the operation of ORVs in Lindsay if they are traveling directly to or from an approved route. So that's pretty clear context.
So I apologize, Carolyn, you were looking at one of the other questions on the original recommendation survey. I did not grab that one. I can send a follow-up to the off-road vehicle task force with the full combined results after this meeting.
Okay, thank you. Can everybody sort of grab their calendars? And when do we want to have our next meeting?
Councillor Gunn, we also received the correspondence that was submitted.
Oh, yes. It's okay. Thank you. Can I have a motion to receive all the correspondence that's been submitted? And that's moved by Carolyn, seconded by Tracy. All those in favor? And that motion is carried. Just give me a second here. How does the 6th, 7th, 8th, how do any of those days work for anybody of October? Because that'll get a council meeting and a committee of the whole meeting under our belt before we have our next meeting.
You just want to send out a doodle poll for those 3 dates to see what comes back?
Sure. Okay. And I'm sure Brianne can do that.
Pat, I will have to apologize for not being able to attend the 6th, 7th, and 8th. I'll be away.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have a big issue with those dates? All right. So go ahead, Jason.
Just, it's going to depend on the time.
Okay, and we lost all verbal from you there,
For
Jason.
me, I'm done. Sorry, guys. My internet's kind of not up to it today. Just let me know and I'll try and make any dates as long as they're early in the morning.
Okay.
Like whatever the morning time is.
Yep, sounds good. Okay, so Brianne, if you can send out a doodle message to, or just a message to everybody with those dates, we'll see what we can come up with for times. And good meeting. Welcome again, once again, Peter and John. I think it's been a productive meeting. Kathleen, if we can get together sometime between now and then and have a drive around and a conversation about Bob Cajun, we'll see what we can't structure. All right. Thank you very much. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Moved by Don, seconded by Tracy. All those in favor? Motion's carried. Thanks for your participation. Have a great day.
Thank you.